Okay then guys, what is going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're looking at Star Wars Outlaws. Now this is the game that I've had pretty much anticipated for quite some time. After we saw the release of Hogwarts Legacy, it was only a matter of time before we saw a Star Wars rendition, with it being almost in that sci-fi battle style. When we look at what we've got today, we have got the official gameplay walkthrough from Ubisoft Forward, and this released it just a couple of days ago now, with it currently now, even after 2 days of showing, is on number 38 on Gaming Trending, which is absolutely incredible. So it would be absolutely ridiculous to not show it. So today we're going to dive on in and tell you guys some of the little key features that are inside of it that you guys may know about. This is really interesting and one that I've really got my eye on. This could be really good, but with it being Ubisoft, it could also crumble and fail quite dramatically. With that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's dive on into some Star Wars Outlaws. So at the beginning of the gameplay walkthrough, we are brought together with a animation. This is the main storyline cutscenes, and I'd like to imagine that this is going to be the case all the way through. Based on the gameplay that we've got, the cutscenes are quite important and they do look really interesting, as well as graphical imagery is actually really good. With this being a Star Wars Outlaws game though, this isn't your generic Star Wars-esque style. There's no real view of lightsabers, or at least at this point there's no real view of lightsabers, and the only way to really describe this is imagine a game revolved around Han Solo. This is one of those games that is going to be quite impressive and could be an absolute game breaker when it comes to the gaming scene, but this could also go extremely badly. People love the lightsaber action, and with Jedi Survivor and stuff like that, it kind of went well known. But with this being what it is, it's extremely interesting to see the gameplay in full flow. We almost have a Splinter Cell-esque style stealth missions, and we've also got quite high levels of combat. There is a lot of things inside of here that we know that we can use, including numerous different pistols that we're going to be able to utilize, pick up, find, and I presume customize, although no real vision on that from the gameplay thus far. What else we can tell is that we are also going to be able to utilize enemy weapons, so picking up like Gatling guns and assault rifles and stuff like that is definitely going to be a partake inside of this. When we start looking at transversing though, there are so many different things that we can do, including climbing, holding, wall walking and stuff like that. And then we've also got quite a lot of vehicles that we've got the usage of, one of which is the speed runners, and these speed bikes are absolutely incredible. They look really well done, and the animation of while they're being rode is absolutely awesome. I feel like for me personally, transversing the game is quite important, and the fact that we have got the availability to run around and utilize different vehicles that we find is pretty damn interesting. As to the limitations on vehicles though, yet again, it is yet to be seen, but we do know that we have other things that we can utilize, such as space flight. Now space flight is again a really interesting one, as we do have the gameplay footage for that as well, and the way that it kind of works is we hop into the ship, and then once we get into the ship there seems to be an animation which actually lifts us off the ground. Whether this is going to be a standard usage or just specific missions is yet to be seen, but the animation takes us into space, and once we start to make our way up into orbit, we now notice that we can start to utilize these ships in all different fashions. We have loads of different flight styles, including the general gliding. Also on top of that, we have also got the jet boosted version of the ship, which means that we can go at kind of super speed, if that's what you want to call it. And then on top of that, we do also have weapons that we can utilize. This does seem quite interesting to know that we've now got space sort of attacking and stuff like that. It does look okay, although it looks pretty damn bog standard and exactly what you'd kind of expect. What I think that the best comparison for this is space flight looks very much like No Man's Sky. If you've ever played that, you'll know that the space flight and space combat is pretty bog standard. There's not much innovative stuff inside of this, although the surrounding areas are absolutely awesome. They do look extremely cool. What else we know about the spaceships so far is we can go into into what we'd call hyperdrive, so we'd be able to move from different orbits, and the generic Star Wars speed light is there as well as we go through and warp speed into another orbit. This is extremely interesting because it does lead to how big the game will actually be and how it will actually play out inside of that. And with this being a Ubisoft game, it is also extremely concerning that a game can be that big. Yet again, we don't know how these planets are going to work and whether it's going to be mission selected, so we can only visit certain missions throughout, or if it's going to be a complete open world succession where we can just kind of go wherever we want. What we do notice though is that throughout these hyperspeed jumps and stuff like that are a lot of cutscenes, so that would lead me to believe it's relatively story based on where it is that you can go and how you can get there, and whether we can go back to other planets is yet to be seen. As an overall though, this does seem actually really interesting. We've got a lot of different places that we can visit by the looks of things, and each one of them does seem to have its own generic style, although the main concept of it is a lot of sand, or at least that's how I'm gathering it. When we go to the end though, the end of the clip scenes do show us quite a lot as far as what it is we're going to be able to see and how the missions are actually going to play out, including the fact that we've got stormtroopers and we're going to be able to go onto the main enemy ships. Whether this is during the age of the Death Star, we'll have to wait and see. We don't know if we've got any access towards that as of right now, but Star Wars Outlaws is looking extremely promising. Their open world generic does seem to be working quite well, and like I said, we don't really know how guided it is per se, with the game screen on the UI not really having much of a map absolutely anywhere, although what we can see is that there is a compass across the top that is leading us in a generic direction. What this will show you is essentially where the next mission is going to be and how it is you can get there. Not too guided per se, so the open world does seem to premise quite a lot of promise in this one. But again, I think this is going to be a hard hitter. If Ubisoft do not get this perfect, though, this is going to cause a lot of issues for the franchise as far as a Star Wars game. And for me personally, if Ubisoft do not manage to make this game correctly, do not feel like they should be allowed to touch the Star Wars franchise again, because I feel like Ubisoft have got a bit of a reputation when it comes to this. But for me, this is really well done, and the gameplay footage is not just a 10-second clip. We've got around 11 minutes of gameplay footage that was uploaded by Ubisoft themselves, and the storyline does look really intriguing. I think that there's a bit more that they could kind of do with it, although that's just being nitpicky at this point. As an overall though, the base concept of the game, it does look really cool, and considering we've only just seen it, I think it's a hell of a lot to show for it when it means that we've got 11 minutes nearly of gameplay already. I'm not going to put the full video in this video right here. If you want to see the full gameplay footage, I'll leave the link down in the description to Ubisoft's main channel, and you guys can go and watch all of it over there. But for me, so far, the way that it looks, the combat looks quite standard as a third-person shooter, and I'd probably say it looks at about a 7 to 8 out of 10. The main transversing, though, does look extremely fun, and riding around on a speed bike, or hopefully speed cars and stuff like that, are going to be a little bit more enjoyable. And as far as space flight goes, it does look pretty bog standard. I'm a little bit disappointed with it, but that's just again me being quite nitpicky, and without having any hands on, it's really difficult to be able to tell exactly how this is going to play out. As an overall though, well done Ubisoft, so far so good, and it's looking quite promising. But if the years of recent gaming concession have taught us absolutely anything, is that we definitely need to keep our eyes open and keep ourselves savvy. Don't let the hype of this game absolutely obliterate what it could potentially go wrong with it. That's just my personal opinion, but this does look really good so far. If you guys are enjoying the videos, make sure you smash the beautiful blue thumbs up, and let me know down in the comment section exactly what you guys are thinking of this. We've just started hitting shorts on the channel, so you guys are going to get little bursts of information from inside these videos as the days go through, and I want to know what your feedback is on that as well. So if you managed to get this far, let me know down in the comment section. Do you watch the shorts? Anywho, thanks very much again for watching. Appreciate you very much, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.